Building muscle. It's one of those things, right? It's one of the most common fitness goals out there, but man, is it surrounded by confusion, myths, and just some really bad advice. Today, we are going to cut right through all of that noise.
So let me just ask you, do you think that getting the results you want means you have to basically live at the gym? Spending 2, maybe 3 hours a day just lifting weights? A lot of people believe that. But what if I told you that whole approach might actually be holding you back?
Because the science of how muscle actually grows, when you boil it all down, is surprisingly simple. It's really not about logging endless hours. It's about doing the right things and doing them consistently. And that is exactly what we're going to break down right now.
Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, we need to understand what's actually going on inside your body. What's the engine that's really driving this whole muscle growth process? The big scientific word you're going to hear is hypertrophy. It sounds really complicated, but honestly, all it means is muscle growth. The best way to think about it is as your body's amazing ability to adapt. When you challenge your muscles, they don't just repair themselves, they build back bigger and stronger so they can handle that same challenge even better the next time. It's pretty incredible. And this breaks that whole cycle down perfectly. It all kicks off with stress. When you lift something that's truly challenging, you're creating these tiny microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. Now, I know tears sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually the starting gun for growth. That damage sends out a signal. Your immune system basically acts like a 911 dispatcher, sending a repair crew to the scene. And that's where the magic really happens, the repair phase. Your body doesn't just patch up the damage. No, it overcompensates. It rebuilds those fibers to be thicker and more resilient, getting them ready for whatever you throw at them next.
And listen, this isn't just for bodybuilders trying to get huge. Building and just maintaining muscle boosts your metabolism, which means you burn more calories even when you're just sitting on the couch. It gives you more energy in your day-to-day life, improves your functional strength for everything from carrying groceries to playing with your kids, and it's an absolute cornerstone of long-term health and longevity. So now we get the why behind building muscle. Let's dig into the how. We're going to start with the first, most essential pillar, the training itself. This is how we create that all-important stress signal we were just talking about. Okay, the biggest myth we need to bust right off the bat is that more is always better. The truth is, your muscles don't grow because you spent a long time in the gym. They grow in response to the intensity of the work and the consistency of that work over time. A focused, intense 45-minute workout will beat a sloppy 2-hour session every single time. It's about quality over quantity.
I love this quote from Dr. Mike Israetel because it hits the nail on the head. Let's zoom in on that phrase, working set. That's not your warm-up, that's the set that actually counts. And the test for it is simple. If you can finish a set and the last few reps didn't feel like a real struggle, it probably wasn't challenging enough to signal new growth. So what does a challenging workout actually look like? Well, here are the key rules. First, volume. You really only need about 3 to 6 hard sets per exercise. Next, your rep range. Aim for somewhere between 10 and 20 reps where those last few are a serious grind. Now, the most important rule of all, progressive overload. This just means you have to get a little bit better over time. Add a little more weight, do 1 more rep. You have to give your muscles a reason to adapt. Another pro tip is to focus on the eccentric, or the lowering part of the lift. Controlling the weight on the way down is a huge trigger for growth. And finally, keep your rest periods between sets pretty short, somewhere between 30 and 90 seconds. This creates a kind of metabolic environment that really encourages growth. Of course, stressing the muscle is only step 1. All that hard work in the gym goes to waste if you don't give your body the raw materials it needs to actually do the rebuilding. So it's time to talk about fuel. You see this number on the screen, 250 to 500. What's that about? Well, that's your target. That's the number of extra calories you should be eating above what you need just to maintain your current weight. This small surplus is the sweet spot. It's enough to fuel new muscle without packing on a bunch of unwanted body fat. And here's the bottom line. You cannot build a house without bricks. It's impossible. And you can't build new muscle tissue out of thin air. It takes energy. Being in that slight calorie surplus is like giving your body's construction crew the green light, telling them, hey, we've got plenty of supplies, go ahead and start building. And the most important building block of all is protein. But how much do you need? Instead of getting overwhelmed by a huge daily number, just think about it 1 meal at a time. If you can aim for about 20 to 24 grams of protein at each meal, you're hitting a fantastic target to maximize muscle growth. And that's not as hard as it sounds. That could just be a cup of Greek yogurt or 3 or 4 eggs. Totally manageable. Now, if we zoom in on protein, there's one superstar amino acid called leucine. The best analogy I've ever heard is that leucine is the literal light switch. It is the specific molecule that flips the switch inside your cells and tells them, okay, it's time to start building. And you don't need any weird, expensive supplements to get it. Leucine is everywhere in high-quality protein foods. Things like chicken, steak, fish, eggs, and dairy are loaded with it. And for plant-based folks, tofu, navy beans, and even pumpkin seeds are fantastic sources. Okay, so we've covered the stimulus in the gym and the fuel in the kitchen. Now for our third and final pillar. And honestly, this is probably the most important and definitely the most ignored. Recovery. Because the gym is just where you start the process. The real growth happens after you leave.
This right here is one of the biggest mindset shifts you can possibly make. The gym is where you create the signal for growth. The actual growing, the repairing, and the rebuilding of those muscle fibers, that all happens when you rest. And what's the undisputed king of recovery? Sleep. So what's this magic number you're seeing? For your body to optimally repair that muscle tissue and release crucial growth hormones, the science is crystal clear: 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. It's not a luxury, it's an absolute necessity for this process. And if you're still not convinced, check this out. Research shows that just 1 week of sleeping only 5 hours a night can slash your levels of key muscle-building hormones, like testosterone, by as much as 15%. I mean, think about that. All your hard work in the gym and in the kitchen could be seriously undermined just because you stayed up late. You are literally sabotaging your own progress. Recovery isn't just about sleep either. It's also about your week as a whole. You absolutely need at least 1 or 2 complete days off from lifting. Then, on your other non-training days, something called active recovery, like a brisk walk or some light stretching, can actually help speed things up by getting more blood flow to those tired muscles. All right, we've covered the science, the training, the fuel, and the recovery. Let's wrap this all up and tie it together into a simple, actionable blueprint that you can start using literally today. Let's bring it all home. Here it is, 4 simple steps. Number 1, challenge your muscles. Train with intensity and consistency. Number 2, eat for growth. Get in that slight calorie surplus and hit your protein goals at every meal. Number 3, prioritize your sleep. Make those 7 to 9 hours non-negotiable. And number 4, and this might be the hardest one, be patient. Real visible changes take months, not weeks. Consistency is the secret sauce. You know, at the end of the day, the process of building muscle really teaches us a bigger lesson, that any meaningful growth, whether it's in the gym or in life, only happens when we embrace a challenge and then give ourselves the proper resources to recover and adapt from it. The blueprint is right here. The only question left is, are you ready to begin?